I mean, our summer plans aren't really extravagant. It's not like we're going to go tour around the world and like how every TikToker goes to Paris or Italy, seeing the running of the bulls or something.
Running the bulls.
Hey, we're broke, right? Accept it. We're only going to be sticking to our main go-to, which is basically Six Flags, right?
That seems to be where we are pass wise.
Fortunate enough, we can get ourselves in with no hassle. So I honestly have to say, I don't know how psych I am or hyped up I am for Six Flags
Mm.
because when I went for my spring break trip, it was such an eye opener that I am so old now, even if I'm not old yet. All right.
Oh,
So
baked
when
potato.
when I went, I don't remember if you hearing they fucked up my neck, man. They messed me up, dude. When I went on the Viper, that was my first ride of the day, and I was already excited because 5 minute wait time. Hell yeah! You don't see that at Universal. You rarely see that at Disney. But you give me a 5 minute wait time for a thrill ride.
Mm-hmm.
I was so psyched. And then I get on it. I don't know how you are expecting for this,
Mm-hmm.
but that ride was a ruiner for me. Let me tell you. Viper pretty much starts off as a simple ride. You go up a sharp incline
Mm.
and then you go back down. The problem with going back down, though, these assholes had a sick sense of humor where you're spinning around in a twirl and your head is shaking as the ride wobbles along the track. I don't know exactly who was it that designed that. I'm assuming one of the Looney Tunes characters did because if you know anything about Six Flags, they are both Looney Tunes and DC inspired.
Mm.
You ever been to Six Flags?
Yes.
Well, hold on. Did you go to Magic Mountain Six Flags or did you go to any of the others in California?
I didn't know there were others in California, to be fair.
I mean, there's technically three, because Six Flags has their something harbor. I can't remember what it's called.
Is either Blizzard Harbor or Hurricane Harbor?
I think it's Hurricane Harbor. I feel like Blizzard Harbor is the Disney World one. And then they have Animal Kingdom or something of the sort. And that's the one that's up north near San Fran. That's the one that's basically like a cheap version of Disney World's Animal Kingdom.
I've only ever been to Magic Mountain.
Well, how long has it been since you've been Magic Mountain since we're finally going back?
Sophomore year of high school.
Oh, so you were just a young babe at the time.
Yes, and I have a whole bitch fest story prepared for that, but we'll save that for a different time.
How many rides do you remember going on, if you remember at all?
I remember the giant ass wooden one. I remember
Goliath.
Superman. I remember the.
You went on Superman?
Yes.
You know what? That's actually a nice, fun, simple ride. I'll admit. All right, what else?
I went on a shit ton of coasters. I don't remember all the rides. I remember I went on one twice because the line was so short that day.
Probably that one was the Viper. Viper is like, I checked the wait time today because I got bored. It was still sitting at 10 minutes max.
Well, no, it was like something we were surprised was I had a short wait time because when we went on it like the first time earlier in the day, then it had like a longer wait time.
What's your stance though on the thrill aspect of amusement parks? Because like you have Disney and they're mostly like slow rides, and then you have Universal, which has some action-packed rides, but nothing too much.
Yeah.
Like, what's your stance on just the full-on thrill of a roller coaster?
Six Flags, it's just dead ass all thrill rides. I can't recall like a single slow one, to be fair.
All right, fair enough too.
And we also went during like the Halloween time.
Oh, that's right. They had a Halloween event.
They just like I'm such like a slow reactor to things because the scare actors are doing their best. The guy's coming like running up and he's sliding on his knees, but they have spark like matches underneath it, so it's like sparks are flying.
Jesus Christ!
My friend screamed. Her mom his mom screamed, and then I'm just standing there like Tina Belcher just.
Why were you uncomfortable? It's just a scare actor.
It's less like my brain kind of was like not quite startled, but just like perturbed that someone had entered my personal space.
Perturbed. Someone's got a big fancy word on them right now.
I had to take a literal course that's just like, oh, speed up your reading and learn more words. Here's your test.
I didn't know I was friends with such a nerd right now. Oh, perturbed.
Okay, League of Legends, sit the fuck down.
I got out of my habit, okay?
You were playing the other night. What the fuck do you mean?
You got a little, what is it? It's like Narcan. You gotta take easy doses.
Narcan.
You gotta take easy doses before you kick the habit, all right?
My God.
How do you know I've not been chat banned or account banned yet?
Yet.
God knows how long.
We went through a haunted house, and it was like a slaughterhouse. I got lost.
They do that at Six Flags?
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay.
Like it was just a cow with its guts out, and I was lost, and I was literally just standing there like, where's an exit? And I had to have like a employee like come hunt me down, but I had already left through like a different emergency exit, and I was waiting on the other side of the building like, where's my friend?
Where the hell were you guys? I was in there, in the trenches, lost. I thought I was back in Vietnam.
Yeah, I didn't read the flash warning, so yeah, the photosensitive person got a bit dazed and lost going through a wrong door.
Okay, look, I'm not trying to shame you or anybody else. I feel flashing lights are anticipated for a horror mansion or horror house, a haunted house.
Well, the room specifically, everything was checkerboard.
Yeah.
Even the person in the costume who was like blended into the wall and was like slowly approaching as it was flashing. So yeah, obviously my friend screamed, and I can't fucking see. I'm photosensitive, so like with my eyes, so of course I'm like, where the fuck am I? I can see the person moving, so I'm like moving away slowly enough to where they're focused more on my friend, and I walked through a wrong door, and yeah.
Were you genuinely trying to bait your friend out to be the victim of this haunted house attraction?
Sucks to suck, short stack.
What the fucking short stack? Okay, whatever, champ.
This person was shorter than me. I was the second tallest person in my friend, or like AFAB in my group of friends.
Christ almighty, that bar is low.
What do you mean I'm 5'6"? I'm above the national average.
God, how do you even see so short? You're short-sighted, huh?
We can't all be fucking freaks of nature, you lopsided giraffe.
I'll have you know I've yet to go on a ride without being asked if I'm tall enough, because they know damn well I'm tall enough.
I've never been asked after I was like, what, 8?
Sure. I can imagine just knowing your personality was formed at such an early age. I can imagine it was just the poor worker to you. Hey, champ. We'll go ahead and step to the side real quick. Let's see how big you're getting, how strong you are. And most likely you kind of like mutter under your breath, this fucking asshole here trying to say I'm short.
I wouldn't have said that, but I did say I better not lose my place.
You better put me next in line like I was.
Let's hold your spot. And I'm like, you better.
I've been standing in line for Goliath for nearly 40 minutes. I'm not going to the back of the line.
It's like I've been in Haunted Mansion for this long ass time. You better fucking, that height bar better be dead ass right in front of the fucking ride.
I remember though one time my family had to bypass the height or cheated the height system because they pretty much tried to put, it was like early 2000s. So we were at, I think it was Six Flags for this. One of my cousins wanted to go on Goliath, but there is a height restriction.
Yes.
So when we were going up, my cousin is especially short. You met her.
Yes.
She's especially short than everyone's family.
Wait, give me the placement.
She is the 5th cousin of mine.
Okay, I mean like firstborn, secondborn, or thirdborn girl.
Oh, firstborn. She's the only born girl. I love how we're going to be confusing the people, but you're getting more confused right now.
You have 3 female cousins. What do you mean?
Oh my fucking god! I could have just said Alex. I don't know why you're trying to make it seem like we're this anonymous. My cousin Alex.
Okay.
All right. Damn. I don't know why you're wanting to play the guessing game. I was more than willing to say the name.
Fucking.
All right. Well, look, we'll skip it. So my cousin Alex there wanted to go on a ride, and she is ridiculously short. She's still short now. I think she's shorter than you.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
She's shorter than me. She's shorter than your mom.
She's short. Everyone, a lot of people are taller than my mom though. But my tia decided that since my cousin wanted to go, and being the stereotypical Mexican family of 13 plus, we all were like, we go on as family or leave as a family. To which I was thinking to myself, the fuck we are. I'm on the ride. She can wait on the outside. Go on to the Looney Tunes kids section over there.
This isn't fucking Ohana, champ. Someone's getting left behind.
Exactly. Like, we are not Disney parking this hoe. I am going to scream my head off, and she can cry in the corner over there, okay? All right. But she pretty much gave her lifted shoes before we went to the park to make sure she was able to go on it.
Christ.
And let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
If you think you're smart enough to overlook the height system they established, honestly, I say go for it.
Oh my god.
Because no, I do say go for it because it is going to be a funny story to tell and look back on. She had the bar on her, and she had the seatbelt on, and my tia threw her arm like over her chest.
Yeah, mom protection.
Every time we went on a loop or something that just kind of put us into a faster position, she gripped the sidebar that was next to the headrest. It was the most blatant display of one wrong move, we are going to have a very sad day all of a sudden.
Jesus Christ.
This is no longer going to be a magic mountain. It's going to be a bloody mountain.
Good God.
Obviously, she survived.
Yes, she lives to tell the tale.
She somewhat lives to tell the tale, but yet the family still likes to talk about me getting the fucking glue stuck in my hair.
You say glue, it was a rat trap.
It was a roach trap.
Roach trap, rat trap. I'm pretty sure anything gets stuck in there, they're starving and dying.
I didn't starve and die, so. What checkmate, Atheist.
Some of us had the common sense not to use a roach trap as hair gel.
I didn't think it was hair gel. I said me and my cousin were daring each other, like, you go, you do it, you do it. No. How about we both do it, okay?
The more I hear about you and your cousin's shenanigans, the more grateful I am that I had absolutely no siblings and no cousins close enough to start this shit.
Hey, you're no fun. Our lives were chaotic. Honestly, I genuinely am surprised I was not in any special ed classes. That's not even trying to take a dig. I did some of the most outrageous stuff that was more of attention seeking, if you will, with a hyperactive imagination and action too. Looking back at it, it genuinely makes me wonder, why was I never diagnosed properly, nor was I ever put into a special ed class for my type of condition?
I want you to stop and look at your culture and say, would my mother really have tried to get me diagnosed with something?
My mom kept saying, like, all growing up for me that, oh, you got ADD, you're okay, man. And I'm like, really? Do I? Because I don't think anyone's ever told me. And you being my mom creates some form of bias.
Just saying and then actually getting help are two completely different things, bro. You had, what, you got your glasses when you were in high school.
I still remember that day because my teacher was getting mad at me. They were like, optics, why ain't you looking properly? I'm like, I can't see. Teacher just tells me, because you've been sleeping the whole class. No! I cannot see.
Jesus.
You saying I'm sleeping, which I did. I ain't gonna deny that, teach.
Jesus.
But teacher, I am squinting right now, and I cannot see for the life of me what is right in front of me. So I don't know what more you want to hear from me other than I need glasses.
That should have been like your sign when your teacher's like, hey, yo, wake up.
Oh God, I think one of my students might need glasses now that I'm thinking about it. He's been sleeping quite a bit in classes. Oh no. Oh, so if you hear this, please, your head shape doesn't meet the requirements for our round glasses. You need square ones.
Oh my God.
Rectangular shape. Possibly rounded edge.
Rounded rectangles.
Something like that. I think something in that vicinity.
Yeah, you should stick to shapes that are close to your head shape. If you did rounded, it would be weird because you got a rectangle for a head.
My head's perfectly shaped too.
Your head's a rectangle.
So onto the amusement park though,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have I don't have any high expectations for my return to Six Flags now because not only are we going during summer, to which fuck, not only do I have to deal with summer weather of Southern California, I got to deal with possible Edgars and anyone who's going to be causing any sort of ruckus in the park. God bless the curfew, I tell you, man.
I don't. I can't actually. I don't know. Maybe they just have different haircuts, but I can't recall like any Edgars
Well,
in high school.
when I went there for my time, there wasn't really Edgar's. I'm talking about my high school.
Yeah.
There wasn't really like a lot of the Edgar haircuts of the bowl style or anything like that. I mean, a lot of them were like, like the TikTok audio, the no kamaka.
Okay.
Like that entire audio from TikTok was just perfect for many of my classmates.
Damn.
But they, other than that, they weren't entirely insufferable as you might think. So for Six Flags specifically, I gotta say, when I went there last time, there were just a lot of people who were really, really not minding personal space.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what happens at amusement parks.
I don't think there's anything more inappropriate than a lot of there's this like elderly lady that was next to me. She was talkative, but she was also happy, so I couldn't really like fault her for anything else. When we were moving along the ride, she was trying to talk to me, and I honestly thought to myself, God, my headphones, I needed them right now.
Where was your mother?
She was still in line, but she was more in tune with her phone.
I would have purposely switched places with your mother.
I can't. I'm not that level of rude. I feel like once someone's talking to you, I try to like get out of that conversation, but it only worked for like a minute, and then something happens. She's like, "Oh, can you see how slow we're going?" And I want to talk about my games on my phone and maybe even what future rides we could go. I'm like, lady, who are you?
That bridges another interesting question. Why are you in line for a ride?
Yeah, I was like, what? You think there was one lady who was just following me around the park?
No, I meant like maybe if you were like in line for food, but why isn't like give me an age bracket?
I want to say maybe 50s, early 60s.
Damn, that's not old, champ.
It's old to me.
Oh my god. You say my mom's old?
Yes. Your mom is hella old, dude.
She's not hella old. She's just starting to get her grays.
Yeah, sure, champ.
Yes, she is. She stopped dyeing her hair 3 years ago.
Buddy.
What do you mean? She's 58!
Old ass.
Oh, mister, would your mom do that for me? You keep calling my mom old. See how quickly the gifts dwindle on your end.
Mr. Dubois, you better watch your attitude. But, I mean, I don't know what more, because look, we're poor. I can see to that. I wish we would have a little more money, but if we can go somewhere else for a amusement park, where would you say we should go next?
Probably Universal.
Lame.
Okay, fuck me then. We could just go to the goddamn park and look at the crackheads then. I get that. That's pretty exciting.
Hell yeah. Just
watch two bums fight over a sandwich.
Here, this is an egg salad. I took 2 bites out of it. Have at it.
Go.
I got my mind on the crackhead with the needle still in his arm. He's got a weapon already.
See, I don't think I could pull that in San Diego because they're a little smarter down there. They realize you have enough money to buy that sandwich, so they probably just mug you.
there's a crackhead and there's a San Diego crackhead. Apparently, San Diego crackhead graduated summa cum laude.
Oh, fuck, pretty much, yeah. There's nothing but colleges down there. Guarantee that a good chunk of the homeless people could also be like UC grads.
That's sad statements.
Yeah.
That's really sad to think. Well, oh man, what happened to you? I graduated top of my class with a major in finances. What the fuck do you mean?
I graduated valedictorian For philosophy.
Oh, now I know why you're poor.
Oh, now I know why you got into meth.
Like, I'd be fucking strung out too if I was in a philosophy major.
If I had to hear the difference between Socrates and Plato, I can't say that out loud.
If I had to find the difference between Socrates and Plato, I'd go the way of Kurt Cobain.
In Minecraft.
Sure. Look, as long as you don't say what you're going to do to yourself, but reference somebody, you should be able to get the pass.
In Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft, alright? But when we go to Six Flags, and I think it was about 2 weeks now, roughly. When we go to Six Flags, we firstly we need to make a list because we're only going for the day.
Yeah.
I dread it because driving to it will still be a pain in the ass overall. That said, though, what?
I burped.
Oh yeah, I heard that nasty.
I said, pardon me.
That said, though, we should also try to figure out if we should have any form of medication. That's why I said we're old ass. Because when I went there, my stomach was mostly suffering as much as my neck.
You have like a weak stomach. I'll bring Tums for you. I probably need ibuprofen because the sun, but that's it.
I'm bringing a lot of stuff. I'll probably create a cocktail while in the park and either OD on Goliath or pass out over there on Riddler.
Can you not die? I kind of like the rent to be paid.
Rent will be paid post-mortem. Rest in peace. You would have loved Riddler's Revenge.
God.
Oh, that's the one ride I actually don't think you're going to like when we go. I'm not going to try to make you go on a lot of the rides that I went on before, because when I went, it was only 6 rides I went on. Because, again, exhausted for the most part.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what part of don't you understand,
Weak
champ?
Sauce.
Also, one of the rides took nearly 2 hours to get on, so that was like a good chunk of the day.
Fuck's sake.
Well, the park's open between 10 and 8. Oh, sorry, 11 and 8. So it's not like a lot of the rides were options because they had high wait times too. So unless you had a fast pass or anything like that, you were pretty much fucked. That said, though, when we do go, I need to understand one thing about you. I need to understand how are you with unfamiliar rides. What I mean by that too is that not your standard sit down, buckle up, and shut up kind of rides. Some of these rides have unique circumstances
like
to them.
Standing.
Yeah, standing. You're upside down for the start of it. You're laying on your stomach for one of them. There's a lot of these rides that have like unique circumstances. I just need to know before I even get my whole itinerary and list set out.
As long as I can fit my fucking body into the restraints, I'm fine.
I'm gonna have to invest into cargo shorts though, like the kind that buckle, zip, or whatever. Because every ride I did go on for the time made me very anxious, and I feared that I was going to lose my phone or my wallet or my keys. Because they were slowly sliding out my pocket, and my hands immediately shot as far as they could to my pocket. I'm like, nope. Nope. I might only have $48 in the bank, but no way in hell Jimbo's gonna steal my ID.
Jesus Christ.
So truth be told, I want to go back to what you said before about going Universal. It's not that I don't like Universal. It's I don't really see how much different Universal is from Disney in terms of just rides. Because a lot of the rides I see from Universal, they're not the same in what you get from Disney, but it's like the similar approach of low thrill for a portion of them to high thrill for some of them, like what you get with what's that, Hagrid's Journey something?
Oh, I don't know. I've never ridden that one specifically.
Yeah.
Last time I went to Universal, that entire section wasn't open yet.
Damn, how long has it been for Universal?
It was the ride hadn't been opened up, but like the stores and shit were selling the stuff, like the wands and the robes and stuff. So it was like right when it was starting.
I really enjoy how Disney has the lightsabers then that you can build and craft, and then Universal has the wands. Because I can tell you that no matter who you see it, whether you call them Disney adults or Potterheads, Both sides are nerds.
Well, you can't make your own wand. I guess that's a downside.
You still get your own wand of your choosing, though.
You buy someone else's wand.
It's still a wand nonetheless. Look, if you're going to buy a wand for like 50 plus, I know that's a lower price than what you get for a Disney lightsaber. You're still buying a Harry Potter wand because you're still trying to see if you're gonna get that letter from Hogwarts. You goddamn nerd.
What is it, Nana?
That's what it is.
He's not fat.
Fat cat.
He's not a fat cat. Oh, my boy. Hello. Who's a good boy? Oh, my God. He's so fucking cute.
So then, let's go on for something else I actually want to do with you. Because
Alrighty.
there's the whole talk about amusement parks and the thrill factors of it all. Let's talk about the greatest thrill to ever have when you go to a amusement park. The idea of a possible lawsuit.
Good God Almighty.
So, for Sunspot alone at least, I decided to create a new game for them to try out. Basically, it's win or lose. Sunspot, for this game, I gave you a little rundown before, but I'll give it again right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to give you a real life lawsuit that was administered to an amusement park of various natures.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to guess if this lawsuit was either a win, a loss, or settled.
Mm.
Now, keep in mind, though, in the whole telling of you what happened with these people, I'm going to give you the both sides argument, tell you what happened from the victim's perspective, and then what the corporation says in their defense. You are going to guess afterwards whether or not this was a win for the victim or a loss for the victim.
Okay.
Or, in some circumstance, just a settlement between both sides.
Okay.
I'm also going to tell you how much they got out of it, if there was a number for it, but you don't have to guess that. You can if you want to try to take a shot in the dark.
Not even gonna try.
Oh, you suck. You're a coward. All right. So, like I said, there are going to be various parks. And when I was doing the research for this, I have to tell you, there are way more accidents than I thought there'd be in any park in existence, from Disney to indie style. There's so much listings of people who had a severe accident.
Yes.
And they're all ranging from severity. It could have been either a bruised knee because they got scraped on a ride, or there's the death. And no, that's actually one. That's actually the first one I just said is going to be on this list. Or just an outright death, a wrongful death. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So, I'm going to tell you the first one, and then you hear me out, then take your guess.
Yeah.
An unnamed visitor had tried to sue Disney after a worker allegedly poured scalding hot coffee onto their arm. So, this sounds familiar. If you're aware of the McDonald's lawsuit for the hot coffee,
Yes.
it is very familiar. The victim claims that at Disneyland, a worker had served a hot coffee to the guest, and while they were handing the cup over to the customer, the coffee had spilled over and poured itself onto the victim's arms. This victim later alleged in the lawsuit that the spill had caused third-degree burns all over the forearm and had rendered them incapable of doing any labor. Disney later argued that these burns were too light when examined, and that and that the evidence provided was insufficient to be considered a third-degree burn. So, this lawsuit, if you want a little time window to when it happened, this occurred in 2010.
Okay.
So, hearing the details, Sunspot, I want you to tell me, do you think this was a win for the victim, a loss for the victim, or a settlement?
I'm gonna say loss.
You think it was a loss?
Yes.
Honestly, I can understand that too, because when I was researching, they were citing heavily the McDonald's incident when the elderly lady was pretty much demonized and mocked because how do you get burnt from coffee? And then later in life, you find more evidence that it was actually way above the temperature. So, despite despite that, this was actually a settlement.
Had a feeling.
This man got a settlement of $2 million. Well, look, it's fair. I think it's fair. I mean, $2 million for a third-degree burn on a forearm, dude?
I significantly, I don't know, for a park, for a McDonald's, yeah, I can see human error coming in because it's its own small individual thing. But for a park where I feel like there's at least 3 other people constantly checking in on it, I'm gonna say I doubt it was actually third degrees.
Oh, so you're actually doubting the victim in this?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm not gonna doubt him too much because I can still see it because there's also possible ignorance or fuck ups on the worker side, even the park themselves too. I get Disney likes to promote itself as like a friendly corporation. Families are accepted and everyone's loved and cared for. But I think people try to forget more often that last part, just corporation, where they're trying to do stuff for the sake of profit.
So, you are here for money, and that is it.
You are here to love the mouse, nothing more, nothing less. Gaze upon your new god. Bask in the
Oh, yeah, I can see how it would be a settlement. Because most of these people, they just want to, like, shut it down and shut it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Disney's sake, because Disney apparently gets into a good amount of lawsuits, but they are
the lawyers paid.
Yeah, keeps the lawyers paid, but goddamn, those lawyers are top tier. I know it's kind of fucked to bring it up, but you remember that the case recently of that one guy whose wife died from a peanut allergy?
Yes.
Honestly, when it first happened, those lawyers were fucking double timing it. And then the minute they dropped that argument, well, you signed up for Disney Plus, so you knew what was coming. Everyone was like, maybe we shouldn't have said that. Maybe
no.
we should.
We showed our hand.
Okay. How about settlement? I think the guy in that case, that guy only got like several 100,000.
Yeah.
Look, can I be honest? If anyone in your family was wrongfully killed at a multi-billion-dollar corporation's amusement park, would you settle for several 100,000?
Several hundred? No, I want $1 million.
Million? Like just $1 million flat?
I just mean in the millions.
If anyone in my family had passed because of the unprofessionalism and the idiocy of the worker, I want my ass to have a statue next to Walt Disney.
Jesus Christ.
It doesn't have to be a big statue. I just want a mini me right next to Walt, smiling and laughing, because them motherfuckers are going to be reminded of what the hell I was doing.
Good God almighty. Alright, so...
water break. Alright.
I'm down 1 point.
You're down 1 point. Remember, if you lose, you're buying Olive Garden for...
I'm not buying dick!
You're buying Olive Garden for me. Alright, next one.
Make Olive Garden.
Yeah, we can't make Olive Garden by going to Olive Garden.
I'm not going to fucking Olive Garden.
You're a coward.
I'm not paying $20 for a fucking piece of pasta I can make for less than $5 here.
On lunchtime during the weekends, if you pay for $11 for soup and salad.
Big brain! No!
All right, Drago. What you hear in the hallway during your finals test?
You need to stop. Go to the next one.
All right, next one. You're down 1 point. Anthony Salamone sues Universal Florida for a near-death experience on the Jaws ride. Do you remember the Jaws ride, son?
It was taken down before I even got there.
Well, I don't know if it's similar to the one in California, but the Jaws ride was essentially part of the back tour.
Oh, the tour section. Okay.
Yes. So it's that one, or that portion of the ride itself.
Okay.
So here's what the details are for the case. Solomon had stated that while on the ride, he was closest to the rail near the water where Jaws would appear. At one point during the ride, it was a section where everything shakes a bit and gets them scared. It was at that point specifically that he fell over and was submerged in the water for about 10 seconds. He came back up And when he came back up, he was pretty much in a real life situation of Jaws, because the shark animatronic had pretty much started to lunge itself at Salamon.
Yeah, I know how it moves.
Yeah. So, fortunately enough, Salamon had managed to get himself back onto the boat with the help of the workers. However, this did not take one time. It took 2 tries to get him on the boat. On the second attempt, when he was being pulled up, he states that his leg got caught against the ride, the mechanism of the ride, and he suffered a laceration and a bruising on his leg. So it was on this incident that Salamon claims that he suffered an injury thanks to the competence of the workers. Universal argued in their defense that Salamon leaned too far over the edge, which resulted in him falling into the water, and the worker followed the proper protocols to bring him back into the ride. So, hearing the arguments by both sides, which I also have to add right now, you're not going to get a lot of arguments made by the corporation because they're pretty much...
Yeah, they keep hush-hush.
Yeah, they're hush-hush. They're like, we did everything right, shut up. That's all I get.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing the arguments from both sides and what evidence was provided, do you think Anthony won his case? Case? You think he won?
Yes.
Honestly, yeah, he did. Do you think he should have won?
You know what? It depends on how much he won.
He won $1 million as well.
For a laceration and a bruise?
You have any idea how fucking ridiculous these lawsuits are going to get, dude? Some of them are well priced for a lawsuit, but he himself won $1 million from this.
Fucking Christ! For that, I will say no. It wasn't deserved, but yeah, it sounds like he won, and so I get a point.
He still won. I'm not trying to argue against you.
I get the point.
Look, if I can also make my stance too for this, I get it if his argument was based on the fact that the Jaws animatronic was the cause of the injury. Because if his leg got caught on the Jaws teeth and it got cut and bruised from that, yeah, go ahead. I get that more.
And I can recall up to a certain point that those were actual shark teeth.
I think they're just like still a risk factor, even if they're like animatronic style teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it would make more sense because actual shark teeth are a lot more.
Is that their Pirates of the Caribbean skull?
I'm saying up to a point it was. They replaced them because they kept damaging the boats.
Damn. Oh, man. That's actually terrifying to think that... God, I was on that ride. What if that almost happened to me, huh? What if Young Objects was almost shark food?
Well, if this is in Florida... I don't know the Jaws ride in Florida because all I know is the section where you stop next to the water in Universal. Like, unless you are, like, actually leaning really far out. Again, I don't know what year this happened in, so it might have been, like, different.
1999.
Yeah, the tour buses might have been different, but now, yeah, if you're a grown person, you have to be trying to get over the edge. And also, it's like a straight shot. You're on a bridge. It's a straight shot that the shark is just sort of, like, undulating up and down on. So, yeah, you have to be over the railing and then falling into the water.
I mean, truth be told, too, when I read this case, I was more thinking to myself, damn, dude, you're really shaming the worker who helped your ass out?
Yeah, honestly.
When I heard that bit, I'm like, look, I get it wasn't the perfect rescue like you might get from a Jaws movie, but you don't have to say it was his fault because you fell back in a second time, man. Like, at some point, it's your fault.
Like, were you expecting Skippy, the 19-year-old, to help your ass out of the water? What if he was like a shrimpy little wimp?
Well, apparently, though, when he did get rescued, there were the other riders were applauding because they all thought this was part of the ride.
Christ!
Just imagine you almost got eaten by Jaws. You're bleeding from your leg, like, injured. Everyone's like, wow, it's so realistic. They put so much effort and thought.
He's really good at that. Yeah.
He's really good. He's real good. All right, so you're 1-1.
Alrighty.
All right, and if you want to keep track for the corporation, it's Disney's down 1 and Universal's down 1. Woo, corporations. All right. Here's the third one.
Alrighty.
Emma McGinnis sues Disney's Typhoon Lagoon for suffering from a wedgie at the water park. Hold on. I know you're laughing now. I want to give a content warning because it actually is worse than what you're probably putting in your mind right now.
Okay.
So, when I give this content warning, it's basically if you are a person with lower anatomies, you're going to hold on to them with your life and cherish them better after the story.
Okay.
All right. So, in 2004, Emma McGinnis goes to Typhoon Lagoon to celebrate her 30th birthday with her family.
Okay.
She alleges that on one of the slides she went on, she went at a higher velocity than what should be normally acquired for a water park slide.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, her bikini outfit rolled up into her body and caused physical harm. And here's where the content warning comes in.
Okay.
She cited from her injury, she suffered severe vaginal laceration, and after standing up at the end of the ride, blood began to pour down her leg. Allegedly, from records, her injury was so severe it split up into the vaginal crevice through the taint area and suffered major blood loss. Sorry. Are we good over there?
Oh boy.
Are we good over there, champ? I feel like you're. I feel you're holding yourself down there. Like,
I'm not. I literally, if you look at me, I'm in the same position I was to begin with.
I don't know about you. I'm holding my boys right now with cherish and pride and love.
Why? Because you can just imagine like a
Yes.
mankini splitting into your nuts.
Oh, I can imagine a lot of shit, but that's still painful. No matter what sex and gender, man, it is just outright the thought that it pretty much it cut her. It cut her quite a bit.
All right, read me Disney's response.
Disney alleges that McGinnis did not follow the proper guidelines, but McGinnis countered it, stating that there were no proper instructions given. These instructions, I don't know if you're aware, for some water parks, if you go on a certain slide, you are instructed to keep your legs and arms crossed across your body.
Yes.
McGinnis cites that these were not given to her at the start of the ride, which was what led to the injuries happening. So, hearing now the evidence, whose side do you think came out on top?
I'm gonna say settling.
You think it's a settlement?
Yeah.
Well, this is where I'm going to give a cop out, but unfortunately, it's also not looking good for her. This case is still in progress because I actually gave you the wrong year. It happened in 2014.
What the fuck?
And it got finally heard in 22.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the court system's bullshit sometimes, man. However, everything seems to be leaning towards in favor of Disney.
Damn. So if there's no clear fucking answer, why give it to me?
Because that is the clear answer. Because at this point, the verdict is leaning towards Disney. This wasn't a cop out of like a trick question. No, because it is citing right now that the evidence leans heavily towards favor of Disney.
If I'm not seeing that a judge went ting ting, then no, it's not definitive. Just because something's leaning doesn't mean it's definitive.
All right, O.J. Simpson.
Oh my god.
There we go. Yeah, there we go, huh? Yeah. Catch 22, motherfucker.
In a court of law, the man was acquitted. That is the verdict. Is
what? His Blue Jay Simpson gonna come
Blue Jay Simpson.
He's gonna come get me now? Look, you can see it as a cheap trick, but given the fact that Disney seems to also have no deep pockets, and truth be told, look, I'm not trying to sound like she wasn't fully aware, but I feel like it's also a universal rule of going down water slides.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I'm not saying I'm on her side. I'm just saying that Disney probably would have settled to shut her the fuck up.
True. This also could be one of those cases where Disney's like, no, 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 no. We're taking a lot of stuff. We got the Disney Plus case. We got the case of the brain eating.
Amoeba.
There we go, champ. Brain eating amoeba.
Why are you saying champ when you're the one stuttering on it, bro?
And then we got the poor kid who kept getting eaten in the alligator pond.
Oh my god.
So pissed at being at Disney World and I didn't see one damn gator.
You saw a turtle.
I did see a turtle. I will admit to that, but I'm still pissed that the signs were all saying water or watch out, the gator infested water. Get out here.
Look out for. I don't know. It was just a little. It wasn't out of place for me because I'm so used to seeing that's like, oh, watch out for rattlesnakes.
Either way, call it cheap, call it cop out. Don't matter because Disney's still gonna win. I know Disney's gonna win and it's gonna be a loss for us all. But this is still a Disney win.
Okay.
All right, number 4, and this is gonna be. Look, that was my only cheap one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are definitive yes, nos, and maybes because the maybes are settlements.
Okay.
So here's my next one. Kashaf Dakhtar and her family had sued a carnival for wrongful deaths of Kashaf Dakhtar.
Mm.
So this was actually a class action lawsuit, but was headed by the Dakhtar family because she was the only victim to perish at this carnival.
Okay.
So at the Askari Amusement Park, which was a brand new park for its time, this happened about 2016.
Okay.
There was a collapse, and you might have seen it actually. It was on TikTok quite a bit. People might have posted it, but it was one of those swinging pendulum
Oh, the
rides.
one that broke in half and slammed?
That exact one.
Okay.
Yes. So this ride, if you listening now are unfamiliar, this ride had these poor people. There were 29 people in total.
Mm-hmm.
These poor people were essentially thrown from the topmost point of this pendulum and all fell to the ground. This was about 40 feet above ground, right? So this is 4 stories high.
Mm.
And remember, as they were spinning too, they had velocity gain. So as they were falling, they were going at a higher speed than you would normally if you just jumped off a roof.
Yeah.
So as they were falling, 28 people had suffered major injuries that resulted in either long hospital stays or lifelong damage.
Mm.
One of them was Kashaf, who unfortunately did pass away because of the accident that happened. The lawsuit claims that the safety checks were not properly administered and the ride inspector failed to do their job.
Mm.
Thus, the carnival themselves were held liable.
Mm-hmm.
The park in question, Askari Amusement Park, argues against these claims, stating that the proper protocols were followed and that no further comment was going to be given at the time. So, the cheapest cop out of all.
Yeah.
So, who do you think won this one?
The family.
The family won, yes. Justice prevails for this one.
Especially if it's a fucking carnival. Carnivals have the most absolute dog shit, like dog water fucking safety regulations.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could better cover their ass if before you enter it, they have a sign that says you, upon entering here, you waive all, like, ability to sue for any liability of damages.
I actually found out that that's not a liable means of legal grounds.
Damn.
Because saying that you can be suffer injury means you can't sue. That does not abide by law. Because the only exception to that is the McCamey Manor.
Mm.
You know, the one where you pretty much go through an extreme haunted house.
Yeah.
But that's because they've had lawyers iron out every detail so that way people who sign those documentations cannot sue. But just having a simple sign that says whatever happens here happens here.
Whatever happens is between you and God now.
What happens at the amusement park stays at the amusement park, baby. Yeah, no, that doesn't fly in court of law.
Okay.
But yes, also this was one of the quicker lawsuits we'll find on this list because when the investigators were following up with the claims, they also found out that the operators were untrained,
Mm-hmm.
the gears were outdated,
Mm-hmm.
and that the instructor had not been to work for 5 days prior to the opening of the park.
Tracks.
So they were like, "Look, man, you could do what you want, but let's be 100%. Your asses are going to jail."
Take the L and pay the money, otherwise you're becoming someone's bed bitch.
They all collectively got a $29 million claim out of this.
Yep. That tracks.
Yeah, so pretty much like evenly divided by 1 million each. Okay, here's the next one.
Okay.
A Colorado family sues Disney again for injuries suffered on Big Thunder Mountain.
Okay.
To which I also had to say, being on Big Thunder Mountain previously before, I have no idea which part of the ride could have been the injury, but when I found out what was it that caused it, I was more amazed by how quote unquote lucky they were.
Was that a selfie stick?
No. I'll be laughing if it was though. Someone definitely had gotten their head knocked because of a selfie stick.
Okay.
But I didn't find that one specifically. So the family claims that the injuries were caused after their cart crashed into the ones that were waiting for loading passengers.
Mm.
So as they were pulling up to the return station, their cart failed to slow down and stop, thus resulting in a slight crash.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't one that resulted in either a full shutdown and massive major injuries, but it was more basically equal to hitting a vehicle going 15 miles an hour. A slight dent, if you will.
So it's like a bumper car.
Bumper car, if you will, yeah. Disney cites that the family refused to disclose any further information about the possible injury and deflects the idea as just deception. Do you want to know what the injury was suffered by?
What?
The person who suffered the injury was the father of the family. And he states that he had a bad back after this.
Fuck off.
He's the only one that suffered from his family, by the way.
Fuck off. Disney won. I don't even need you to go further.
The plaintiff won.
You're bullshit.
He won $500,000 off of this. Let me tell you why. Because there was actually evidence.
Oh
when
my
research.
god. Okay.
All right, you jumped way too soon, dog. So, when they investigated this, they found out that one of the gears or one of the codes that operates the brake gears was insufficiently put for a reset, meaning whoever coded that or whoever was coding for the time put in the wrong input.
Okay.
Thus, this led to this specific situation because apparently when they do the whole stop and go for all the rides, they have to go through a whole system, as you might expect.
Yeah.
Meaning, basically, I'm just giving you the long word of saying it was the operator's fault.
Okay.
The operator in question did not have the right information put in to have the cart slow down to a steady pace. And this is what led to the father having this injury, which was still a bad back.
I'm gonna say it's bullshit, man. But
Look,
okay.
Look, are you telling me that if you got into a slight fender bender, no matter how minimal, you're not immediately becoming a top tier Broadway actor on the side of the road?
On the side of the road, yeah. With a multi-million-dollar company, no, because I know I'm probably fucking gonna wind up dead in the ditch.
No one finds your body in Colorado. No one goes to Colorado.
No, there's a new headstone at the Haunted Mansion. It said "dumb bitch who tried to sue." Susie sues a lot.
Ooh, that's lame. What was sue these papers? Whatever. So no, he still won it. He still won the $500,000, even if you call it bullshit, dude. So let's see. That's you being up 3, down 2, and then Disney's down 2, up 1.
Okay.
With Universal, and then that one indie company park being down 1. All right, here's our next one. There was a class lawsuit against Legoland Germany, by the way. I got to specify Germany.
Legoland Germany, okay.
Yeah. For a mass collision suffered at the park. So this is where you're going to be pissed from what you hear on this one when you look back at we just heard from the father who had a bad back.
Okay.
So at Legoland Germany, there were 2 rides that had collided with one another. These rides were going full speed. This resulted in derailment and the injury of 29 people on board. Also, I gotta retcon something real quick. When I told you about the Ascari amusement one,
Yeah.
it was not 29 people. It was estimated to be 18.
Okay.
But for the Legoland Germany case, 29 people suffered from an injury after derailment from full collision of 2 rides on the same track.
Okay.
An investigation later cited that the accident was caused because of 2 Legoland workers who were allegedly to be incompetent and unfamiliar with the devices to operate the machinery. There was no defense given by Legoland Incorporated. So I feel like this gives you a good answer.
Plaintiff won.
The plaintiffs won, yes. The plaintiffs won, but Legoland themselves were not the primary targets of this lawsuit. Though
The operators were.
The operators were. The operators were convicted for their negligence and were ordered to pay the fines because of the failure. Legoland had to eat some of the fees because they still operated under the Legoland tag, thus meaning that they still had some faults.
Yes. They failed to train, and thus the injuries happen.
Yeah, so surprisingly, the one time we see a corporation actually own up to their fuck up.
And it's not even one that's in America.
God bless Legoland. Hell yeah, brother.
I can't. Squaw!
What the hell was that?
I can't do the rah!
Oh my God.
So we just go squaw!
Sure, champ. You want some apple slices too?
I don't know, buddy. You want apple slices? God, you're sweaty.
I'm a little warm right now.
Then get the blanket off!
No, it acts as a good barrier for sound. Leave me be.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
Could have put a curtain on the fucking ceiling.
Probably.
Oh my God.
So you're up 4 now, down 2.
Okay.
All right, here's our next one. Pearl Santos' family sues Six Flags for the deaths of Pearl Santos. So here's what happened, all right?
Okay.
You're gonna enjoy this one. Somewhat. Apparently, Pearl Santos had went to Six Flags Magic Mountain to ride the ride Goliath.
Okay.
So we talked about previously at the start of the episode. Goliath itself is just one of the scariest rides at the park because it is a 400-foot drop from the top all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then
very
it's
steep angle.
Yeah, very steep angle, and then it's a whole rigmarole where you're going twirls and spins. Look, I'm old, so I'm already using my old slurs, all right? Old terms.
It's all rinky-dink and hunky-dory.
Oh, hullabaloo over here.
Haberdashery.
So, but while she was on the ride, Goliath, she suffered a brain aneurysm. And if you are unfamiliar with a brain aneurysm, they can occur at any time without warning and are extremely fatal.
Yes.
The family alleges that the park was aware of the danger factor Goliath had and that the thrill of the ride caused the aneurysm.
Fuck off.
The park rebuked these claims, citing that the ride had been operating for decades before the incident without harm to any other guest. This pretty much went on to being a back and forth of the family continuously citing that the danger that had come with the ride Goliath was too great and sued the park for $5 million and the shutdown of Goliath.
Fuck off.
I want you to take a guess at what ride still is in operation to this day.
Goliath is still in operation.
The Goliath is still in operation.
They fucking lost.
They fucking lost, yeah. Look, I get that because here's the more clarity for that, why they thought the brain aneurysm occurred. Because they said that since Pearl had poor health leading up to this, like her whole life, she had poor health apparently. That the ride was like the nail in the coffin for her.
That she shouldn't have been on the fucking ride. I'm pretty sure there's like a whole list of warnings.
There are. I was on the ride this past spring break. There are warnings that, hey, if you are any of these, get off.
Fuck yourself, leave.
So I'm gonna be honest. I commend that they are willing to stand up for their daughter and their lost family member. That said, I don't know how to feel about the fact that I'm also under the impression they only did that because it seemed like a possible moneymaker.
Yeah.
Because when you find out that you die from a brain aneurysm, there's really nothing else for it. Like, don't blame anybody but just the unfairness of life.
Like if a stray bullet hit you while you were in Disneyland, that's not Disneyland's fault.
No, that's the weird ass guy on New Year's Eve who was celebrating too soon in the air.
So are you making 101, 1,000 Ways to Die reference?
I fucking love that episode. Wow, poor guy.
No.
Like poor guy just walking home. He's like, I got a pain in my chest.
Yeah, sometimes it's poor guy, and sometimes it's you fucking dumbass.
I still think about the slide one with the nail sticking out. You remember that one?
I think about it a lot. I think about the guy that blew up the corn silo. I think about the guy that used a playing card to create a bomb in jail.
What about the one where the lady suffocated herself with her giant breasts?
I don't remember that. I remember a guy that had like a kink about people with disabilities, and he like choked on a lady's false eyeball.
Oh my god, I don't remember that one.
They were doing it. Of course, she was on top, and the eyeball fell out, and he choked, and yeah.
Fuck.
Thanks, Ron Perlman.
I miss that man's voice sometimes. I wonder what he's doing nowadays.
Slide aside, I'm sorry to derail the game, but I do have to ask.
What's up?
Was there a death that physically like affected you for the rest of your life?
The Rusty Razor.
Oh my god.
Do you remember
that? Enlighten me, please.
So the Rusty Razor deaths for 1,000 Ways to Die. This woman was shaving her lower region with a rusty razor. And if you don't know anything about rust, is that if you get into the bloodstream, you have a numerous amount of diseases that can be happening. And for her specifically, I think it was something sepsis related that later developed to become pretty much a skin falling off
Probably
disease.
MRSA.
I think it could have been MRSA. You're more well versed in the medical field than me. So she nicked herself when she was shaving like the area around her inner thigh.
Yeah.
And she was pretty much just ignoring all the signs that she was so sick because she was also a beauty pageant.
Yes.
So when we get to the final moments of her life, her entire body was just riddled with
slopping off.
Yeah. And she like peeled some of it off, and I was like, ah!
So now you're hyper aware of razors?
Why else do you think I'm not using my razor?
Oh my god.
That shit is sitting on my counter right now. I got my electric one, which I still inspect to see if it's rusty or not. But that razor, even if I get a new one, I'm still going to be hesitant. How about you? What was your most memorable death?
The supermodel that overate and ruptured his stomach.
Oh, the one that just exploded on the inside, right?
That before I had seen that episode, I was a kid that would push my limits. I would eat even past I was full. I used to call myself the bottomless pit. I saw that episode. I no longer did that. The second I felt full, I stopped. And then, of course, you get older, you eat more, you push past what full is, and, you get fat. But I never went so far that I got, like, sick or my stomach ruptured. Like, every time I would eat and then feel a pain in my stomach, I'm like, oh, God, this is the end. I'm never going to make it.
I'm not going to make it.
Oh, okay. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, that one fucked me up. So, like, even now that I can't eat, I'm still like, wait, what's this feeling? Am I okay? I guess I'm okay.
I guess I'm alright. I guess we'll be okay for now. Alright, you ready to continue our game, champ?
Yes.
Alright. Next one, number 8. You're already up 5 and down 2.
Okay.
Tyler Sampson's family sues, I mistyped for that, sues for the wrongful death of their son at Icon Park, which is located in Florida.
Okay.
Right. Samson was to be believed at least 100 feet above the ground when a seat malfunction occurred. This seat malfunction will result in the 14-year-old Samson falling to his death and led to this eventual lawsuit. The teen's family sued Icon Park for the malfunction and failure of the restraints that resulted in the deaths. However, the park alleges that Samson surpassed the 285-pound limit and stated that the teen in question weighed to be about 383 pounds instead. Now, remember, this is a young man, right? This is a 14-year-old teen, and given the fact that look, I gotta say, just the outright accusation that this kid was too fat to be on the ride, already a poor showing of hands by the park. Because to say that this kid was just too large, it still is more the fault of your side because you didn't go through the proper
checks
to make sure that he's good enough. There are ways to avoid this, and you calling this kid fat and he died because of his own choices. I don't think you want to go that way, buddies. All right, but hold on. Hearing that it was a seat malfunction.
Okay.
And the park does still state that the teen weighed 383 pounds, which is nearly 100 over the weight limit for the ride. Who do you think came out on top?
I'm gonna say it was either the family or settlement.
It was the family.
Yeah.
The family had won $310 million from this.
Good God.
I honestly think that is well due.
Yeah, honestly, you're gonna call my kid fat?
He wasn't even fat, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing. Even the way you were saying it, you were making it seem like there's no way that a 14-year-old could be that fat. Yes, a 14-year-old could be that fat. But if he wasn't, then okay, good. Why are you dead quiet?
Oh, because I thought usually you sound like you were pausing because you had to collect your thoughts. Sorry.
No, that was the end of my thought.
Well, yeah, no.
The family, because the seat malfunction did happen. It's not like the fucking ride the second he sat down in this universe where he was over 300 pounds. He's like, oh, fat ass, gotta eject. Like, no, that's not what happens. If the seat stopped working, then the seat stopped working, and that is the fault of the park.
Honestly, yeah, that is true. Because, like I said too, he wasn't overweight. I saw his pictures, all right?
Okay.
Either this kid was really good at hiding it and he was really tall, or they really were just trying to make this young man seem to be fatter than he was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was that. So, which I'm still like, God, dude, I know you're trying to avoid a lawsuit payout, but fuck, you can at least try to be more respectful.
Jesus Christ.
All right, next one. 7 and 2, or you're 6 and 2 now.
How many do you have, if I may
10.
ask? Oh, okay.
You got 2 more left.
Okay.
All right. This one is simple. Right?
Okay.
A woman sues Disney for a head injury she suffered by a loose umbrella.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to explain what happened. So, an unnamed woman had alleged that the injury was suffered while she was eating in Fantasyland, more specifically the Red Rose Tavern.
Okay.
She was sitting down enjoying a lunch meal when a strong gust of wind came in and had picked up an umbrella from one table over, which hurled itself to her and hit her on the head. Hold on, champ. Hold on, champ, before we start making sound effects, you asshole. Because I'm doing to you what Facebook posts do to grandmas. I'm clickbaiting you.
Rest in peace, Gam Gam. You would have loved the Minions.
This woman, after receiving the head injury
Mm-hmm.
also suffered from seizures that occurred immediately after
What the fuck?
the injury, or so she claims.
So she claims.
Yes, so she claims. All right, I have to say claims, or else I get sued by someone.
Oh, little baked potatoes back.
Cool. Go ahead. Talk about Big Potato while talking about a poor lady getting a seizure.
I don't know her.
But she was hospitalized from this.
Okay.
Disney argues that all umbrellas are safely secured, bolted to their tables respectively, and no injury was possible for this time. So again, the cop-out answer for corporation.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or settled, who do you think came out on top?
Settled.
You think it's a settlement case?
Yes.
All right. Well, you have now broken your streak because this was actually a favor for the victim.
Okay.
They won $500,000 from this,
Okay.
which I do feel like is actually under because she went to the hospital for this.
Yeah, given medical treatment, especially for seizures, that's fucking pricey.
Yeah, like all of that. I feel like at least if along with the 500, I think her hospital stay should have been paid for too.
Yeah.
At the very best.
Oh, my little baked potato.
And then here's our last one, okay?
Okay.
Here's the last one, and it's gonna be one that might be contentious somewhat, but I was intrigued when I first read it, and now I'm thinking to myself, this still I don't think this holds ground somewhat. So, Jose Arana, his family sues Universal Studio for the wrongful death of Jose after he fell off the King Kong ride.
Okay.
And now keep in mind, this is a clickbait title.
Okay.
I word it like that because that's how the family is trying to argue it, but the real incident is much more unique.
Okay.
So the Arana family states that while at Universal Studio, the ride King Kong failed to have proper warnings for the gentleman to read and hear. This gentleman in question, Jose, only spoke and understood Spanish.
Okay.
But a lot of the warnings they state were only in English.
Yeah.
So, it was also stated that Jose had a history of a heart condition and was easy to be harmed, or whatever could be the proper term for
Triggered.
Thank you. The condition could be easily triggered by thrill aspects of a ride, and Jose was unfamiliar with the King Kong ride, so he pretty much went on it without any proper warning, as the family states. So, he went on the ride, and they continuously state that there was only English given as a warning to all the guests, of which Jose did not understand any bit of it. Part of this lawsuit, the family also sued because of the wrongful death when Jose suffered from a heart attack as he went off the ride. Why did I say he fell off the ride? Or as the family says he fell off the ride? There is a gap between the platform and the ride.
Oh my god.
Jose's foot went through that gap, collided with the floor, and the family argued that that's what led to his eventual death. Or rather, that was the final nail in the coffin for his death.
Okay.
They state that while on the ride, Jose suffered from a heart attack, but once the gentleman in question went off and fell through the gap, leading to a collision with the ground, Jose would later pass. A whole domino effect, if you will.
It's almost fucking Final Destination.
Yeah, but it's not a log truck or a roll. Well, actually, it is a roller coaster. So, along with a $20 million lawsuit, the family added on that the claims or the suit would include the loss of wages that were suffered due to the passing of Jose.
Okay.
This included what money Jose lost when he missed work because,
Death.
he's dead, and what the family lost altogether because they had to miss work for a funeral. Universal states pretty much again that they follow the proper guidelines, but they also included that every warning is administered in one of 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Hmong.
Hmm.
Win or lose settlement, who do you think came on top?
I think Universal.
Universal definitely came on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like,
really? Hmong? I'm surprised. So is this Florida or?
this is Florida.
Okay. I didn't know they had a large Hmong population.
There's the Hmong language is the third largest in the United States overall.
Okay. I feel like I want to fact check that, but I don't.
I'm fact checking right now. Look at that.
All right. I know California's not like the United States, but I don't even think Hmong breaks like the top 6 for California itself. Because I know it's English, Spanish, Tagalog, and I want to say Chinese.
It is English was 239 million people speak it. Spanish has 41 million people. Chinese
Okay.
is Chinese. So I might have misspoke, but either way, they say that they had 3 languages offered in the both literary form, being the warning signs on the wall, and then the auditory form, where the announcer was saying this stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
So I can understand too that this was such. Look, if they had went for a different approach other than the fall between the ride, the gap, then yeah, I get it. I guess I can understand where the lawsuit came from.
I feel like they could, if they just focused on the gap, because that shows that there's an oversight on the park's part, but you made it seem like it was the ride and then the sudden drop.
Exactly. That's why I was so confused when I read it, because I'm thinking to myself, is this article right, like stating the correct information?
Like, did this man get flung out of the fucking ride like a county fair swing ride? No.
No, again, no. Like, you're clickbaiting me right now. You're clickbaiting me, champ. You successfully did it. So now I have to make sure others clickbait too.
Oh my god.
Because this man did not die from the gap that is being alleged right now. He died from a heart attack he suffered on the ride. So, I don't know how to feel about this lawsuit still. This doesn't really feel like look, no one wins in a lawsuit, right? Even if you get all the money, the fact that people suffer.
You lost someone or you got injured.
Yeah, like, except for that dad from Colorado.
Fucking Christ.
No fucking way. 15 miles an hour, dude, you get a little back injury, you come out with like nearly $1 million.
I get flung off my bike. No. I hit a rock in my Heelys and I get sent flying after going down a fucking hill and I'm relatively fine. You get hit at 15 and you're like, oh, my back. My back.
When I first heard that case and then I followed it up with the one, Legoland one, I was thinking to myself, that's the injury I expect from a lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's the shit I was wondering. Not somebody just. It's like that SpongeBob ride, you know, the one that goes slightly little bump.
Yeah.
The
oh.
Yeah, that's
the kiddie ride.
The kiddie ride. That's not the kind of ride I expect you get a major injury on. Somehow though,
maybe whiplash, but a back injury?
That's what he claims. He claims it's a back injury. As far as I'm aware, with whatever research I did, nothing was refuting otherwise.
All right, Jim, get your money.
Get your funny up, not your money up, bro.
Fuck.
I don't know. I think I'm actually more genuinely upset over that one because, truth be told, every one of these lawsuits, most of these lawsuits had some ground to them. Like the wedgie one, I honestly think she should win. I know it's ambiguous ending, but given that it's still leaning towards Disney right now, she should win because that actually does not feel like it should be possible unless you're doing something rather off policy, possibly illegal.
Not to play devil's advocate, but yeah, they do really heavily stress that you cross your shit.
I guess.
Because even me, like in my porker, like when we went to the one water park and I was in like the granny, but like onesie fit, even then, and I was crossing my legs, clutching my thighs, even then, I still got a hell of a wedgie. So, if she wasn't crossing her legs and it got worse for that, I don't know, that kind of tracks.
Oh, I gotta say, Of the 10 ones I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
which one do you think, aside from the dad, because I feel like we kind of both unanimously agree that the dad was bullshitting it.
Yeah.
Which of these other cases do you think was unfounded? There's no standing that they had on them. Because I gotta say, that aneurysm case, really?
Yeah, the aneurysm one then.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, you're telling me she died because she was too excited on Goliath? Really?
It's like if you look at fucking death certificates during COVID, it's like they'd have to specify you died from this, but it was exacerbated by COVID. It's like, yeah, you just fucking died from a pulmonary embolism, but
You died from COVID.
it was from COVID.
And just the whole I think that whole reasoning was made me so confused and a little pissed. You're telling me it's the excitement that killed her? She couldn't handle a
It was such a fun time that she died.
Couldn't handle neutron style.
She couldn't handle the Six Flags style.
Later.
Nicarama.
That lawsuit was so bullshit, and I don't know which of those two that I'm like.
Just say you didn't care that Meemaw lived or died.
It's more also, how dare you make me side with a major corporation?
Yeah, how fucking dare you disgusting prick?
I was like, I want Disney to lose much of the next person, but god damn it, I'm not going to stand by as you're coming at them with this weird ass case.
This is the kind of greed they talk about in the Bible. You profiting off your loved one's death.
I mean, I understood that one lawsuit, the one where the guy had gotten his head kicked off, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you heard that one? I think that one had at least more grounds because.
Well, there's a couple. Do you mean the dude that jumped the fence to get his hat?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Honestly.
Well, that was, if I remember correctly, also similar to the Aranya one, because there was only warning signs in English, but he only spoke Spanish.
I'm sorry. If there's a fence, you don't climb it.
True.
Don't make a joke.
Damn, I didn't even think about a joke until then, but man, my people see a fence and they're like, it'd be your own people. See one fence and they're like, it's in my blood.
My Batman hat. Okay, it's the last time you're wearing it, champ.
Want to get a Batman hat? Got a Superman head. Up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
Oh God, it's 20 years of therapy.
Oh God, it's Felipe. I think enough time to make. Look, if people make 9/11 jokes and Pearl Harbor jokes, I think we've made a couple of jokes about some people.
I'm sorry for the family's loss, but if your family member dies in a very stupid way, you gotta be ready for the jokes.
There was a TV show based on stupid ways of dying. 1,000 Ways, dude. I don't think we're the first people to make light of such ridiculous manners of deaths.
Honestly.
But and then on the other part of it, though, which of these lawsuits do you think was genuinely justified?
I'm gonna say probably the Germany one.
The Legoland one?
Yeah.
That was so justified. It's not just because of the incompetence, but I think the settle factor too of what was paid out.
Mm-hmm.
That was, in my opinion, I think that was a low number.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone a little more because, like I said, these injuries were varied. One person was wheelchair bound for the rest of their life. A lot of other people, though, were like mangled still, hospitalized for a long duration, had to go through therapy again to figure out function of their body.
Why am I remembering that little girl that was scalped?
Because that was one that was covered on Meat Canyon. You probably saw when I was watching them. And that one was also fucking intense because it was also, I'm going to talk about one other case you're familiar with.
Oh, Lord.
But hers was because of basically incompetent operators. If I remember correctly, they were high at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And ignored her cries as she was going around that spinning one. I don't know what they're called. but it's like that one where you're on the ground still, but you're spinning fast and fast. Her hair got caught.
Tilt-a-whirls or some shit.
Yeah, something like that. But I can't remember either way. Hair got caught, and then basically just
Yeah, scalped.
yeah. Oh yeah, pretty horrible. It was god awful.
Mm-hmm.
But that also, when I was looking into this, I was trying to see for one particular case that I wanted to bring up, but you probably know more about it than me, so I decided not to. It was another Disney case.
Is it the Deborah Stone?
It was not that one.
Oh, fuck off. It wasn't the monorail?
No. Wow, you actually know more cases about Disney than I did.
Yeah. Or was it the kid that got dragged on Roger Rabbit?
The fuck is going on at Disney?
A kid fell off and then the ride like dragged him several feet and he died, I believe. Or was it?
No. Remember, no one dies at Disney.
Or was it the Grizzly Rapid flipping over?
No, I actually want to stay silent and hear how you know so many cases of death at Disney that I'm so oblivious of.
Oh, I can't think of any like more.
It was the one where she got caught.
Got caught?
In the hall of something.
That's Deborah Stone!
I don't know the girl's name, I just know the case.
America Sings, yes.
Yeah, America Sings, yeah.
Deborah Stone.
Okay, thank you. Then now I know her name. Rest in peace, Deborah. Do you want to tell this? Because every time we talk about it, you have like 1,000-yard stare as if you witnessed it yourself.
I refuse to step foot in the Innovations building at Disneyland. I had heard about what this happened. I didn't know what the fuck America Sings was. I didn't know where it used to be. And then when it was during like an Avengers exhibition, like it showed like all of
I think it's Star Wars themed now or something.
yeah, but during this time it was like it showed like the Iron Man suits upstairs and you go down, it's like a smart house. I opened a door I wasn't supposed to and I look down and I see that there's like this this small gap, like maybe less than like a nickel between the floor and another space, and I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that it's rounded like the building, and then it clicks that this entire room has the ability to spin. I'm like, oh my god. I close the door, grab my friend, I'm like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm not staying in here. I don't care if Tinkerbell is sending twinkles over the fucking wall. I don't care if there's Pixie Hollow magic blasting. I don't care if Mjolnir is just chilling out up there. I need to get the fuck out of this building.
Hold on. I am not trying to downplay your fear and anxiety. You are genuinely having a Final Destination moment right now because you are hyping it up like if you saw the log truck fall right in front of you.
Okay, so Deborah Stone was either a high school or a recent high school graduate.
Right.
She was either a waitress or a ride operator for America Sings, which like this rotating building, and I think it was like singing about American history but with like animatronic animals.
Right.
She got caught between two walls during a transition period, and no one like pieced together that the screaming was her. They thought it was like a bug in the show or something, and they didn't realize it until they're like, hey, where's Deborah? And they didn't know until they found her body.
Oh.
Completely mangled and crushed.
Oh.
So yeah, no, I was like, I know this happened like way before I was born, but I want to get the fuck out of here, champ.
I am not tempting my fate right now. That door was open for a reason.
And I'm assuming it's a similar mechanism as like the Carousel of Progress in Magic Kingdom, which you were sick and you couldn't go on. At least in Magic Kingdom, they have giant ass walls that are flush against the central force. So there is no sneaking through during scenes. You have to go through a door that is in the back of the building, and that is it.
Right.
So like even though I was like mildly uncomfortable because of this like pseudo misogynistic fucking performance is happening.
Well, when you look at this, boys, oven with a footrest in
Ah,
there.
those girls always silly talking about voting and shit, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, the illusion of independence and freedom,
my silly
huh?
wife.
Biraciality in my America? Ha ha ha.
I'm like,
Don't be silly.
it's a great big tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, okay, cool, I guess.
All right, buddy. Let's go ahead and keep it up.
So, it's an experience, and like, maybe if they had that, maybe they had that sort of setup during American Sings, like that wouldn't have happened, but it happened and such. This is the end of it. No, I don't know. I didn't ask my mom if she went on it when she was young or not.
Yeah. I go, okay, so now that you did your trauma dumping for
Oh my god.
for Deborah there, rest in peace, Deborah.
Rest in peace, Deborah. You didn't deserve that, man.
Yeah, I gotta admit that's a hell of a way to go. I could not find for the life of me when I was researching though if there was a lawsuit that came from it.
I think there was, and I think there was a settlement.
That probably does make sense because again, this was like early-ish Disney.
Let me double check.
You double check. I'll talk about my ass for a bit. I have to just say that when I was young, I had, I guess, the greedy mindset of if I ever get injured at a multi-million-dollar corporation's location, I'm set for life. But now that I'm older, and if you hear this, take this word of advice: you cannot win a lawsuit.
74.
1974?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
9 days after the opening.
Wow, it's been like 50 years then, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, she would have been your mom's age, huh? Roughly?
If she was 18 in 74.
Okay, like 10 years older.
Yeah, roughly 10 years older.
Yeah, wow. It's weird how time works, huh? Well,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. But I don't think there can ever be a lawsuit where we at least come out on top, you and I at least, without even a death occurring. Because even the ones where they've won, it seems to be very flippant. It's either the most batshit reasons, like the Colorado dead,
Yeah.
or it's a horrendously genuine reason, like what happened with the people in India who suffered from the right collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So, growing up, kids, whoever's listening to this, do not go for a lawsuit. The United States was founded on lawsuits, but remember, we're also founded on corporations. So don't think you can win easily against big guys out there.
Cover your ass, and if you do get hurt, then make sure you get a decent lawyer maybe a swarmy one. Get one that looks like he knows how to work the fuck out of loopholes. Because that's your man. That's the man that tackles the corporations.
Exactly how it goes.
Billy Flynn.
Oh, I can't even sing the song. I don't even remember it. But anyways, all right. Well, for your game, at least you seem to have gotten a good, decent score. You got 7 out of 3. All right. You win nothing, sir. You voided the contract. You consumed the Wonka bottle. Good day.
There's no Wonka bottle.
I don't know what the hell they ate.
They drank.
Yeah, they drank a soda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they drank something that just made them go up and they had to burp their way down.
Fizzy juice or some shit like that.
Something Wonka-ish that wasn't really a war crime. All right, but how do you feel about winning?
I want a prize. I thought there was going to be a prize.
The prize is you can take yourself out to eat at one restaurant of your choice. You're paying.
I'm not bringing you, am I?
God, you're so mean.
Then how the fuck is that me winning?
Anyways, I think that's enough. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right, we'll sign off for tonight.
All right.
So, I am your host, Optics.
I'm Sunspot.
And we hope to see you next time. Give us a follow, share, and...
What the fuck did you just throw on me?
Don't worry about it, champ. All right, goodbye.